Okay, and we're live on YouTube. Hold on just a sec, you guys. We're live on Periscope, and we are live on Instagram. Okay, to everybody out there, hello, hola, konnichiwa, salam, ciao, namaste. Peace to all. This is the Pink Elf in the Room conversation, and what we will be discussing for today is simply about the importance of doing your research. And by the way, you guys, I do apologize. This will be the only show for tonight, just so you guys know, uh, because there's some other things I'm going to be having to do later on today. Um, but I do want to go ahead and get on to this one way or another. And I just want to first start off with what we're discussing about in the first place, which is researching. The reason why it's so important to research is you live in a society where memorization is key. We do not use critical thinking. And what does that mean in a sense? Critical thinking means you think through your own thoughts to assess the situation as it is instead of memorizing through past times of what someone has told you is right or wrong in a sense memorizing. We use those tactics in a sense to allow us to believe what is important and what is not, what is truth and what is not. um, So many of us, in a sense, will, for example, we go to school. Perfect example is that, where we will memorize things that are taught to us. We memorize the history. We memorize math questions. We memorize science questions. All sorts of things that are connected. And we don't ever think to ourselves to question everything that is taught to us. We don't think outside the box to see if we could do something more of what we're creating. We just memorize, we write down whatever they tell us, and then we leave it at that. And when we do that, in the sense we're following instructions that someone else told us instead of creating the world and reality we desire. We get upset about the place we may or may not be, give or take who we are, but yet we're not really thinking of a way to create a new plan for ourselves, create a new ideology of how can we get through this. And personally, I've done that. When I was younger, in my own experience, I used to all the time memorize things and information thinking this is right. Of course, due to moral standards, this is right because my teacher said it, my family said it, my friends say it, or whatnot, so it has to be true. And we don't question the fact of what if it's not, or what if there's another way to do it. And I've done this maybe once or twice um, back in the day. One of the ways I did was with a math question. The teacher showed, and she showed how she did it in her own way. Now, of course, I did it a much more difficult way, but I ended up getting the same answer as what she got. And that was just a different tactic of me getting to where I needed to go. And it's because I was critically thinking that this was the way I could solve that problem. And I actually had solved it before she even assessed or showed that what the answer was to that problem. Schools meant as an institute to tell you what to do and how to do it instead of showing you critically, in a sense, how can we change who we are and how can we truly think outside the box in being who we truly are, in a sense. um, we also live in what we call, on top of that, a fear-based society. If memory is not what's driving you, fear is, in the sense of how things should be ran, how things should be in any sense. Um, We use fear in a sense to drive what we call race. We use fear in a sense to drive what we call problems with what we think is our economy or anything. We use it for all sorts of situations, whether it be what we believe is helping the poor, or maybe it is, whether we believe getting people into a good college or a good school. We use fear in several degrees. If we're talking about college, for example, we fear the fact that whoever our child is or whoever we are, we will never be good as the rest because we do not have a paper telling us how smart we are in comparison. And that is a problem in itself because of the fact that if you are believing that a paper is supposed to acknowledge how intelligent you are, then you really need to rethink your mindset of who you are as a person. A paper cannot tell you who you truly are. All that paper does is tell you what you're creating or becoming in a sense, whether it's a doctor, whether it's a scientist, whether it's whether it's getting a bit whether it's getting a business administration, whether it's getting English literature, art, whatever it is, it's just a paper. Now, some people might feel it's not just a paper. I worked my butt off and this and that, and I understand where you're coming from, and that is your truth if you desire to work that hard. However, I don't personally feel, not for everyone anyhow, that college is beneficial when you can simply learn what you need to on your own and create your own reality. We believe that we need someone else to tell us what to do to create what we desire. And that is memorization and fear based at its most finest. Believing that if I don't go to college or if I don't go to school, I won't be smart enough to do the things that I can do to create what I desire. And that is a very flawed outlook on life. You can do whatever you desire if you so choose to. Now, if you have to go to college because you need a license in certain things, that is understandable. But if you are, for example, such as myself, you're building a business or you desire to be an investor or you desire to be in real estate. Well, of course, in real estate, you are going to need a license, but you don't need to go to college to get that said license. Um, you do need to study a lot, of course. But one way or another, college is not important for everyone. And for those people who do go, they go for what they need. But for others, think outside the box. Even when you do go to college, for example, if you're being a doctor, perfect example, being a doctor. Yes, you might have gone several years going there and you're trying to look for a good job. And I've told some people this before who want to do more in life. If that is your case of being a doctor, go and be a doctor, learn the information you need to, and then create your own way of benefiting people to help them in a more healthier way of making sure that they are okay in their services. This is where we go into holistic health and whatnot. Your health is your wealth, and taking care of yourself is important. If that person does that, now what they are doing now is they're critically thinking outside the box, taking time to go learn something else and using that to implement something new of themselves. I do this all the time with certain people where I hear something they say and I may implement it in a new and different way because of the fact that what they're stating is not of benefit for myself. And I know that very well. So I may go out and then implement what they say, research what they say, and find other ways to create that said um, thought process, that ideology of what they created. I do this with health, for example. When taking care of myself, I may hear something that someone says that you need this and this to make sure you don't get sick, or you need this and this to make sure your leg's not sore. I may find something more natural to take care of myself. And that is what many people should look into, is finding a way to take care of who you are for yourself and doing your own research on that. We don't do that because of the fact that we are constantly told and bombarded by other people on how we should be doing what we do. That we don't need to research, but we just need to find that person to tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to say. Tell me how to do it instead of realizing we can do it ourselves. And I believe the biggest fear of that is simply because it is the unknown. We don't know what to do, and it terrifies us because it's pretty much like someone, for example, dropping a bunch of tools in front of you and telling you make a car. And you've never known how to make a car. You don't know what to do, and it's scary. You don't know if the car might blow up when you're trying to put certain parts together or whatnot. And you don't know if the car might leak, or if one of the wheels might not turn right, or if the gears might not work right. And it becomes scary because you've never known how to do that, especially if they didn't give you a book or anything. But that's the process of learning to evolve self. Many of our family, for example, and especially family who is religious or just religion in general, many of our family will tell us something and it stays with us for quite some time, and it's simply because it's being passed on to generation to generation. Religion can work in the same way, where it's passed down to generation, whether it's bloodline or not, it can be passed down. We pass this information down fear based, for example, or both, like I said, which is memory. For example, when you are reading ancient texts of how you should be in this world, in a sense, you are looking for things outside of yourself to make something real or something that is beneficial to you. And for many people, maybe it is. For many people, it may not. And there are many people, even I've observed, because I'm one of them, where it did not work for me. And because I was constantly watching myself in a cycle, I would be in a cycle and I would be frustrated because of the fact it's like, why can I never get to where I say I desire to go? And I would come right back to this, be happy, and then go right back to why can't I find where I desire to go? It took a while to realize that you have the power within self to create that which you desire. If you feel you are powerless because you are not looking within yourself to realize you have the answer. You have the answer to everything. Many people may not believe it, and because you don't believe it, you do not create it. So then you rotate in the cycle over and over, believing that you don't know what to do. You can do this with family, you can do this in religion. With family, it might be the same cycle. You may not see it. There are some family that may not agree with certain things you do, and you feel alone. And many people do not like to be alone. We get terrified. We feel like if our family's not with us to believe us, or if they're not proud of us, then we're not good enough. And you have to see within yourself how good and amazing you are. Of course, I'm not saying to disrespect your family or anything. Um, it may not be perfect. I know for me, at times I've had to nod my head at some of my family and just keep going forward because this is what I'm choosing no matter what. And sometimes it is like that. Keep going forward even if it feels like no one agrees with you or no one is willing to work with you. And we have J Man Devillion who's waving hi. Hey, long time no see. And keep going no matter what anyone says to you. It doesn't matter if it's family, it doesn't matter if it's a religious reason, it doesn't matter if it's even friends who say that I don't think you should do that because of X, Y, and Z. They don't believe in you. You truly have to believe in yourself. Religion would teach you to believe in a higher power that tells you what to do to accomplish whatever you desire within yourself. When you are more about who you are being spiritually within you, it teaches you how to know within your own self the information you can get, and from your own self what you can create of who you are. You can create whatever you desire, but you have to be willing to see that for yourself and not what other people are telling you you should be, you should do, how you should do it, what is morally and immorally correct. There is none of that. It's simply what works for you and what doesn't work in any sense. If it's of benefit to you and it creates your world, then use it. Implement it into your life. Create what you desire. But if it doesn't, then let it go. But look within self. Meditate within self. And we can also do this, of course, culturally. And I'll be short with this one, of course. Culturally, um, we do this based off of sometimes stereotypes. So our goal is to bypass that. In several families, especially families of what you call color, we believe that education is the most highest form of marking who we are. And again, I go back to this, that a paper does not tell how intelligent you are. You tell how intelligent you are. If you desire to go back to college for other reasons, then that is understandable. But to believe that a paper is what will prove how intelligent you are, or any sense, or your status, is flawed in the highest sense. It is flawed because you are not looking at yourself in the highest sense without a paper to back you up. And by the way, this is the world standards of what we believe has to happen. You need a paper to back you up to believe how intelligent and smart you are. You do not. In fact, we could easily change this world and grow in a different way if we got rid of the ideology of believing that if you get a degree, or as we say, a PhD, a master's or whatnot, a bachelor's, that you are intelligent no matter what. But we have not learned in our society how to first allow us to understand within self how brilliant we already are. We believe some children are brilliant, some children are not. And that is again a flawed mistake. You When you are fair to all people and not looking out for